Are you in middle school or high school and struggling with blushing? Do people make fun of you because you turn red? My young friends, I want to share a couple of tips with you that will hopefully help you get through your day a little easier and a little more confident in who you are. Stick around. Hi, welcome to Blushing Phoenix. I'm April, and I help people move past their redness and into living their best life. On this channel, we talk about erythrophobia, the fear of blushing, the fear of turning red, chronic blushing, skin flushing, chest, neck, splotchiness, anxiety, overactive nervous system, and all the things that make us feel insecure and shy back from doing all the things we want to do and being who we want to be. I get a lot of people who stop by on this channel that are in middle school or high school and dealing with chronic blushing. My daughter is 13 and she'll be 14 in a couple of months, and she was actually wearing a Blushing Phoenix logo sweatshirt the other day at school. She's in 8th grade, and she said that this little boy passed her in the hallway and said, "Hey, I know that. That's a YouTuber, isn't it?" And she said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I watch her." I was like, "Well, did you tell him that it's your mom?" And she was like, "No," which is probably because it's not cool or whatever. But anyway, I digress. But it had me thinking about, I cannot imagine being a teenager and dealing with the chronic blushing. You guys know how this makes us feel as adults. I didn't start having the flushing situation and erythrophobia until I was in my 20s. I can't even imagine being in middle school or high school where it's just hard, period, let alone turning red. I have people reach out to me who are in their 40s and 50s still dealing with chronic blushing and erythrophobia. And for a lot of adults, they're still dealing with the story they told themselves in their mind back when they were in their adolescence and somebody made fun of them. So many of the stories I hear are people saying, "I was in class, I was in school, I was at an event, and somebody made fun of me, poked fun of me, and everybody laughed and pointed at how red I was getting." There are 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds still playing that same story, that traumatic experience in their mind. So I know for you guys and girls, you younger ones out there that are in your prime years of discovering your identity and who you are and where you're going to go and what your thought process is going to be, it's being made up right now. You're experiencing some of those traumatic events every single day in your life, and you're young. I know this channel doesn't always speak to the younger population, but I just want you to know you are not alone either. I want you to know that you are so loved and seen and valuable, and we need you here. You possess gifts and talents and so many treasures inside of you that we need you to bring to the forefront. And if you give up on that too soon, you give up on that early in life because somebody made fun of you, then you're going to take that gifting and treasure away from the rest of us who so desperately need to hear what you have to say or see what you're going to produce in this world or whatever your contributions may be. My young friends, I want to share a couple of tips with you that will hopefully help you get through your day a little easier and a little more confident in who you are. Ultimately, I want a disclaimer with this. I'm not a mental health professional. These are just my experiences and what I've been through and what I've heard from other people. What I really, really want to encourage you to do is talk to your parents about this or a trusted adult. A lot of people don't understand the emotional, psychological effects of dealing with chronic blushing and erythrophobia. It isolates you. It makes you want to be alone. It makes you completely detached from the world around you. And then you go into this inside world where you create this narrative that really has been projected onto you, and you start to write the story yourself of who you think you are and how you think you can't live your life because you have a chronic blushing condition. So first and foremost, if you are in a place where you feel that you need help, like immediate help, I want you to reach out to an adult immediately inside of your family, inside of your sphere, and let them know that you are struggling. Do not keep that bottled in. Don't think you'll just work it out on your own. Let somebody know. Okay. Here is tip number 1. You're not going to like it because I don't like it either. Don't try to hide the blushes. That is terrifying, and I know that's a big one. And sometimes you may have to work your way up to that. That may just be like way too much right this second. But the more you try to hide it and the more you shy back from it, the more it reinforces that fear. That is how our brain works, my friends. A lot of times what happens to us is that we get triggered by something that the outside world does to us, and then we start to reinforce that pattern in our minds, and that fear becomes bigger and bigger and bigger because we don't want it to ever happen ever again. But it's a little bit self-sabotaging because what it does is it reinforces that narrative, and that fear becomes this big, nasty monster. Avoidance although it can be helpful as you're working your way through this, ultimately avoidance just makes it worse. I talk a lot on this channel about talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapies, just some sort of psychotherapy. And that's why I would highly suggest that you talk to an adult about getting you into some sort of treatment plan, whether that is a coaching program, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, to be able to talk and express how this makes you feel. Through talking about this and getting this off your chest, it allows you to build a little more confidence and re-script that story that's in your head so that you can start showing up without avoiding, and you can blush and not try to hide from it. For a lot of people, just showing up and blushing isn't on the list of things to do. They're like not gonna do it. Easy for you to say, I ain't doing that. But you can absolutely work your way up to it, because that's what I've done myself. Tip number 2, don't despise the blushing. The blushing is not your enemy. When you create the story that blushing is your enemy, you've now put a villain in your life that's actually a part of you. So you've now cut off a part of you as being bad. You are not bad. You are not broken. You're not messed up. There's nothing wrong with you. It will start with you hating blushing, and then it will end with you hating yourself. We don't have time for that, and you are way too precious for that. Tip number 3, journal. Talk therapy will go a long way. Rescripting the story in your mind that you're telling yourself will go a long way. Exposure therapy, which is you showing up and being seen, even though it's terrifying you, will go a long way. But until you get to that place, journal. Journaling can have such a huge impact on your mental health. Being able to express how you feel, even if in that moment you are hating blushing, you need to be able to express how much you hate it and get that out on paper, and then be able to transform that into a sense of acceptance. I'm not saying that you should just accept the fact that you're going to blush for the rest of your life. I'm saying that you should accept who you are. And if blushing happens to be a part of who you're going to be and who you are, how can you find acceptance in that while you're still looking for some sort of solution and remedy for the blushing? Anytime you find yourself with your head overwhelmed with feelings, or you're sitting in class and you know you're blushing, or somebody just made fun of you, I want you to grab that journal and I want you to start writing down exactly how you're feeling in that moment. As you're expressing every ounce of frustration or pissed off or whatever it is you're feeling in that moment, I then want you to start thinking about things that you love about yourself and things you love about the environment around you, and start transitioning your writing into, here's everything that sucks and I hate so much, but here's what I find very encouraging in my life, and here's what I love about myself, and here's the greatest gifts that I have to offer this world. And over time, as you look back through that journaling, you will see, yes, this is a condition where I turn red, but look at how amazing I am altogether, instead of just having that hyper focus on the blushing. Tip number 4, bring awareness. If somebody is talking about you or making fun of you, or you feel like you're in an environment where people might be calling out that you're red, but you don't necessarily feel like they're bullying you, they're just being kids, they're just being human. They honestly, a lot of times don't know what they're doing to you by pointing out your redness. Now, obviously there's bullies, and that's a whole different situation, and it's very unfortunate. But for a lot of younger people, they're not trying to make you feel bad. They're just not thinking before they speak. And no offense, my young friend, but that's kind of a young people thing. There's some adults that do it too that never really grow up in their head. But for the most part, that's a young people thing, whether you're blushing or not. But bring awareness. Start a conversation about it. Hey, have you ever heard of erythrophobia? And they're going to be like, what the heck is that? And then you can say, that's where you actually have a psychological fear of turning red in front of other people. And that's something that I'm working through myself. Do you want to hear more about it? Or let me tell you more about it. Feel free to send them to this channel. Feel free to share this video with people. The more I've talked about chronic blushing and erythrophobia with the people around me, the more that I have realized for myself that they had no clue that this was such a big deal to so many people. My young friend, there is so much that's happening in your life right now in the day-to-day that will come with you into your adulthood. So many of the adults I talk to still reference things from when they were younger, things that happened to them in class. I myself have those stories. This happened to me when I was younger. This is why I act the way I act now. And I've learned that although these are things that will make up parts of my story, I also have a lot of control over how I react and what my behaviors and thoughts are going to be, not taking away from what happened to me or how I felt about it when it happened. Those are my 4 tips for you today. I hope they are helpful. If they are, please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you don't ever miss another video. And try some of these tips out and then come back into the comments and let me know, were they helpful for you? And even before then, are you going to try some of these tips? I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it. In closing, I need you to know this. I need you to hear this from me. You are going to make it through this. This does not get to define who you are unless you let it. And I know this can be so hard, but you have choices you can make to relieve some of the pressure and help you get through it. Don't bottle it up. Don't shy back. If you feel like you're getting in a really bad place, make sure you speak out to someone. I'm also going to put some links in the description box below. If you need some help, these are some links that can give you access to some help. But if you're in like a really, really bad place, you need to talk to an adult in your life and you need to share with them that you need some help. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wish more adults would do that. You are loved, you are seen, and you are so much more than redness. Hey, thanks for stopping by today. It's always so good to see you. Here's some suggestions of some other videos that might be of interest to you. Go check them out. And until next time, I'll see you in my next video.